reaction number 1, guys. We are watching how a 5-year-old beef destroyed the greatest season in NBA history. This is Jimmy High Roller's new video. We always react to the Jimmy High Roller videos because he's very good, very educational.
I love his videos. They're great, aren't they?
Good data. Can't complain. Yeah. So before we get into it,
make sure you smash the subscribe and follow button.
That was nice. Let's go.
Nothing. Maybe some smack talk here and there, some friendly banter from time to time, a subtle jab, or some extra motivation for the next time they match up. In rare occasions, beefs grow into something more, real rivalries with very real consequences. Yeah. But more often than not, the respect is mutual, and the beef players have is in the spirit of some good, admirable competition. But what if it wasn't? What if it got so out of control, it altered the very history of the NBA itself? When two players despise each other so much that the mere comparison of them is met with consequence? And what if the beef began over something that never really even mattered in the first place?
Is
Guys,
that Wemby?
Who? Yeah, that looks like, yeah, it is, because he's France. He was short there. That was probably before his big growth spurt. Guys, who would you say has the most iconic beef in NBA history? Let us know your opinions in the chat or in the YouTube comments.
Today's video, I stay in on fantasy spin in Jimmy.
2020.
The first mention of Wemby and Chet together in some degree, at least from what I could find, was in a basketball forum all the way back in December of 2020, where a user asked the question, who are your top 5 players for the class of 2021 and 2022? Every single answer that followed containing both the names Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren, but in different orders. Chet 2, Wemby 3, Chet 1, Wemby 3, Wemby 2, Chet 3, Wemby 1, Chet 2. 2020 doesn't feel too long ago, but anyone who had Victor as the best prospect in this class was well ahead of the curve, since at the time, he was just 16 years old and had about 10 months of film on his resume where he looked like an
baby Wemby.
He looks like such a child.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
A tall child.
Because his development's crazy.
My God.
What a guy.
Actual child trapped in a giant's body. Chet, on the other hand, was the #1 ranked prospect in America in his senior year of high school, already committed to Gonzaga and nearly 2 years older than Wemby. Ironically, Victor wasn't even in the class of 22. He was a member of the 23 NBA draft class. This question should have never even involved Victor in the first place. But fate would have it that these two would be compared long before they ever even faced one another. Due to COVID restrictions at the time, any and all potential interactions between the two were held off until the following season. But 7 months later, in the summer of 2021, Wemby and Chet would match up for the first time in their careers, in a game that would spark the most heated rivalry in basketball today.
The pressure.
In July of 2021, the FIBA basketball U19 final came down to the USA versus France, the most highly anticipated matchup of the summer with a world championship on the line. As usual, Team USA had a stacked roster featuring 10 future NBA players, some of which include Jaden Ivey, Peyton Watson, Kenny Lofton, Ryan Kolkbrenner, and the best player in the country, Chet Holmgren. France? Well, they had a 17-year-old Victor Wembanyama, who at the time was already seen as the best prospect in the world, regardless of age. The freakish frames and tools of both Wemby and Chet sparking conversations of similarities between the two. Both slim, lengthy big men with offensive games far too sharp for their size and NBA-ready defensive instincts. Who's better? Who is the rarer unicorn? By the end of this game, those questions were answered. Victor Wembanyama was clearly a step above everyone else.
Oh,
damn, Wemby. Under 19, and he's still doing the mad overhead lobs that he's doing. You could tell he moves his body well, even at that age.
Baloo gets inside, missed, and then Wembanyama there for the putback. Alley-oop.
Big dunk.
Wembanyama, how did you lose sight of him? On the lane. Miles spins, gets rejected.
Still had the defense.
And now he gets rejected. Pump fake and
shot.
Puts it up, and he is
Shot.
Feeling that every possession important. Wembanyama for 3.
It was a close game though.
Again, Lofton, and this time rejected. Hand on it.
It's another tough shot attempt, isn't it?
Miles, he gets blocked by Wembanyama.
Despite being the youngest player on the court and finishing the game with 22, 8, and 8, as very visibly the best player on the floor, Team USA narrowly edged out France, beating them 81-83. And to add insult to injury, the tournament MVP was none other than Chet Holmgren, Wemby having to settle for a silver medal and a spot on the all-tournament team. Now, for most players on the brink of a promising NBA career, this entire tournament would be non-consequential, irrelevant within a few months. But Victor Wembanyama isn't like most players. As the awards were being handed out, Victor could be seen with a look of almost disgust. If you didn't know any better, you'd think France came in dead last by the way Victor handled this loss. Moping around, head down, dragging his feet, disinterested in the whole thing.
That's the mentality of a winner. If it's not first place, you're still losing. I've seen football teams like that when they get like second in the UEFA league and they get given their medals. So they get, imagine they get put a medal on, whether it's silver or bronze, depending on where they land. Get a medal on their neck, they take it straight off. Like they don't want, they feel
you're paid
pissed.
to win.
They don't want that shit.
Yeah.
They're trying to get first. Second, third is not good enough for them.
Appalled even that they didn't win the tournament and he didn't win MVP.
That's how it should be.
That Victor Wembanyama recalls as the worst basketball memory of his life, saying, quote, "Just thinking about it makes my jaw clench. It's a regret, an unfilled hole inside me that I have to fix." This quote is borderline concerning. These are not the words of a kid ready to just forget and move on to a bright NBA career. Unbeknownst to him, Chet Holmgren created a void in the career of the best basketball prospect on the planet. And by any means necessary, Victor was going to spend the next half-decade filling that void.
He's stressing, you can tell.
But it's good that he's pushing himself.
Yeah, you need to.
It shows how hungry he is.
Play to be the best.
Yeah.
By the start of the 2023-24 NBA season, Chet and Wemby were slated to face off in their first NBA matchup. But this wasn't just their first matchup in the league against each other. Although Chet was drafted a year before Wemby, an injury sidelined Holmgren for what should have been his rookie season. And so not only would they be...
Was that LeBron injuring him?
Injury sideline Holmgren for what should
is that the injury? Cause that's crazy.
have been his rookie season. And so not only would they be battling for Rookie of the Year that entire season, the very first game of their respective...
LeBron just running into him like a tank. What the fuck? That's actually bare deep.
That is deep because he's very skinny.
Yeah, that's bare sad.
Yeah.
careers were, of course, against one another. Now, this was a preseason game. It should not have meant anything at all. And it didn't mean anything to anyone besides Chet and Wemby, both of them going suspiciously hard in a preseason game in early October. Despite a few viral moments from Wemby, the Thunder came back and won the game, and it was Chet who outplayed Victor in just about every measurable way.
So Chet is good.
In the very first public stoking of the fire, Chet tweeted this after the game. As if Victor needed any more motivation, as if the kid that was left with a hole inside him that needed to be fixed needed any more fuel to the fire, Chet Holmgren just doused it with a gallon of gasoline in front of the entire world. And thus, this rivalry officially began. In his post-game interview, Chet was asked about his budding rivalry with Wemby, to which he had this to say.
I know you and Victor have been connected for years, even though you haven't played against each other very much. And he just was saying that he thinks this is going to be the start of a lot of really good games against each other. Do you feel that way?
100%. I played against him a couple years ago in FIBA, and I plan to play a long time, and I'm sure he does too. So there'll be no choice but to go back and forth. So,
and he was right. There has, in fact, been no choice but to go back and forth. Even before their first regular season matchup, their relationship was already being labeled as the makings of NBA's next intense rivalry. By their second matchup of the season, the intensity between them had already built up to the point where they were abandoning sets altogether to go at each other one-on-one. Wemby going out of his way to show Chet and the rest of the world there should have never been a comparison in the first place. The numbers on the scoreboard briefly becoming irrelevant in these moments. Now again, Chet didn't really even do anything to deserve this. An innocent bystander who just happened to cross paths with an alien in a FIBA tournament. But Wemby had a hole inside him, and he was fixing it. After the game, the media only made things worse by leading off with a slew of questions about the rivalry and what the two thought of it.
Yeah, in terms of not matching up directly with Jet, you guarded him defensively.
They're just talking about them too.
I mean, it's obviously like human nature, but you know, to really be uncommon and not just do what everybody else does, you have to kind of fight that. And obviously, that's the headline that you guys have. That's what ESPN's promoting. That's what the NBA is promoting, and rightfully so. You know, Vic's a great player. You know, I think I have a long way to go in this league, but you know, I plan to be a great player.
I mean, I wasn't matched up against him the whole game. You know, my first goal is always to win, and I don't in a game like this, I don't think about that, especially in a loss.
First impression of these two unicorns and their potential in the league, it was a fairly even matchup. Wemby was great, but so was Chet. Their names still intertwined, and for many fans, they were each other's equal.
This is potentially the beginning of something special, not only for the two of them individually, but the two of them head to head.
I think both of these guys are studs, they're future stars. You think that there's a better version of me, or I've already bettered him in under 19? There's a competitiveness that you see from Chet. I don't know about that from Victor yet. I believe that he is that dude because he has all of the talent and all of the skills, and he's mature beyond his years, as everyone says. But I do know that both of these guys seem like they're uber talented and they have some dog in them.
The league needs Victor Wembanyama. They need Chet Holmgren to be players that are transcendent.
This, however, did not last very long. By the end of their rookie seasons, Wemby had firmly asserted himself as not just the superior player, but the future face of the league.
Which we can say, we've witnessed that firsthand.
A season that was capped off with Wemby's first triumph over Chet.
From the #1 pick and otherworldly expectations to now the unanimous winner of Rookie of the Year. Victor Wembanyama lived up to the hype.
The unanimous NBA selection for Rookie of the Year. Only the 6th time in NBA history the Rookie of the Year race has been unanimous. He was the 3rd #1 draft choice.
Only the 6th time in history has been unanimous, so it's not even been like a close. That's crazy. So Wemby is that far ahead of all the rookies that was in his like draft. That's mad. Cooper Flagg's going to win Rookie of the Year this year. He's playing so well.
What has it meant? Everything, you know.
Victor didn't just win Rookie of the Year, he won it unanimously. And more importantly, he stopped Chet from winning it.
Nah.
I mean, you can come up with 50 pros and cons for each of us on who's on our team, what we're playing for. At the end of the day, what is the criteria? This is my thing with all NBA awards. Like, what is the criteria? It's hard to, it's all in the eye of the beholder. So it's like, who has more voters that believe in their side of the criteria, I guess. Like, I mean, all credit to him for
What do you want to say?
I'll be real. That sounds like loser talk to me. I'll say it straight.
Yeah.
I'll call it as it is. That's a loser talk. What were you going to say?
I agree. He just... It is what it is. Wembanyama won it.
Unanimously. Wasn't even close.
Yeah.
So that says everything.
Yeah.
You know, a great season and everything. And, you know, we're not rookies anymore. So, like, you know.
I mean, you didn't play your next game, though.
You what?
I've played more than 82, though. So that's the rule on our team.
Wait,
you play more than 82.
Is that still a
Most of y'all don't get the chance, though, because most rookies don't get into the playoffs. So you can't play more than 82.
Yeah.
So, you know.
As much as they tried to deny it, this was a rivalry. And it was
He's
building
pissed.
quickly.
He's
And
so
for just
pissed.
a moment, a small portion of that hole
Chet.
created in 2021 was fixed. But not for long. Wemby won this battle, but in the following season, Chet achieved something far bigger.
Uh-oh. Oh, they won. Yeah, okay. That's a team game, though.
By the start of the 2024-25 season, most fans had accepted that Wemby had taken a leap over Chet. Going into the season, Wemby had jumped all the way up the player rankings to 11th. Chet Holmgren, 32nd. Even in the description of his ranking, Chet unable to escape the expanding shadow of Victor's ascension. But despite the gap that he was building on Chet, Wemby was still unsatisfied with the fact that they were still being mentioned in the same breath. In fact, his disdain for Chet and the Thunder was only growing over time.
What happens when you bring up Chet to Victor?
Well, Chet is not exactly Candyman, but Victor will not even say the man's name.
Wow.
And that's pretty much been the theme ever since Victor Wembanyama
He's got a
arrived in San
vendetta
Antonio.
against him
I think it's
forever.
because, you know, there is a real budding rivalry here. And on both sides, both of those guys are trying to take the attention away from the rivalry and put it specifically on the teams, Oklahoma City and San Antonio. That's what's going on these days. But I'm telling you, they do not like each other. They respect each other, but you'll see it manifest itself on the court.
As
Up it, Dre, you took the words out of my mouth. That's literally what I was going to say. Spurs are 3-0 against OKC. They've won every time against them.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
So we know.
And it explains why Wemby's like, we have to beat them. Like, LeBron in the locker room, Wemby's like, we have to beat them.
There's
all right?
no way.
What are you doing? Just standing there. Make sure you make some points, all right?
That's it, like the RDC. Was it RDC videos we mentioned?
Andrew Schlecht of The Athletic put it, Wemby was creating his very own Voldemort. The kid was pouring mental lighter fluid on a fire that was already out of control. It only made matters worse when the Spurs acknowledged that they were using the Thunder as the blueprint for where they wanted to be in the future. It's the kind of motivation that can consume a man if he isn't careful. And Wemby was eaten alive by it. In their first matchup of the season, Chet completely outclassed Wemby, holding him to just 6 points in statistically his worst game of the entire season. On the other end, Chet had himself a game. The Thunder won the matchup, they were looking like early favorites to win the title, and the Spurs were still trying to figure out how they could possibly keep up. A performance that rekindled the Wemby versus Chet conversation. And before Victor could once again prove otherwise, he was dealt his biggest challenge yet.
Breaking news out of the NBA, according to our Shams Sharania, Victor Wembanyama, the San Antonio Spurs star, is going to miss the rest of the season with what Shams is reporting, a form of a blood clot in his right shoulder. He's out for the season, and the Spurs believe that this is an isolated...
While the Thunder were gapping the field and Chet was blossoming into a vital piece on a potential championship team, Victor was sidelined with a season-ending injury. What's the worst-case scenario for a man hell-bent on revenge and willing to do anything to get it? Being helpless and out of commission while your adversary is inching closer to basketball immortality. Well, actually, that's not quite the worst-case scenario, but this is.
The Thunder have taken the NBA by storm. For the first time, the NBA champion resides in Oklahoma City.
We got a ring already, you know? That's crazy. That is mad. Imagine winning a championship that young. That's a big statement. Obviously, it's a team thing, but still, the fact that you've done that in your career.
You take part though, isn't it?
Yeah,
as long as you performed, you've taken part.
And I think he's one of the top players for them as well.
Yeah.
So he's not far off that SGA level. So
it almost sounds like a work of fiction. This whole saga, this young man's rise to glory and his subsequent fall, idly watching his admittedly unjustifiable enemy achieve the ultimate goal. It's at this point where most players would probably let this whole thing go, realize that this beef has gotten out of control. They're two different players on two different timelines with two different paths. It's just not worth it to hold on to something that, in the grand scheme of things, is so insignificant. But Victor Wembanyama is not like most players.
Man, come out like some Super Saiyan. That's this year.
You personally have not faced this team since October 2024. You didn't know it had been that long?
I knew it had been long, but I didn't know it had been more than a year.
In what ways does today's version of you approach that matchup differently?
I mean, with much more experience in this league, in life, much more knowledge, I would say, of who we are as a team. It's going to be a totally different game than any before.
By the start of the 2025-26 NBA season, a lot had changed over the last year. Wemby was back and ready to play basketball again. He made another jump in the preseason player rankings from 11th to 5th.
Nice.
Chet also made a jump of his own, from 32nd to 24th. For the first time, Wemby was officially recognized as an NBA superstar. Oh, and Chet was now an NBA champion. And if seeing Chet win MVP in a U19 FIBA tournament created a void in Wemby, seeing a ring on his finger created a black hole ready to swallow up anything in its wake. When recently asked if he considers there to be a rivalry between him and Chet, Wemby said, No, I don't think about that. At least from a basketball standpoint, there's no comparison between us. What does Wemby think about the comparison? Well, his feelings hadn't changed. He's so appalled by it, he thinks there shouldn't be one. But maybe we should be asking Chet how he feels about the rivalry.
Do you consider yourself and Victor Wembanyama a rivalry in the league?
I don't think it's ever been up to players or teams to declare rivalries, so you're asking the wrong person.
He's basically trying to say, yeah, there is rivalry.
He's trying. Yeah, he's just being cheeky with the answer.
Yeah,
there's clearly a rivalry. He knows
course.
it. Like, let's be real.
I don't know about that. Regardless of what the fans or the media think, there is nothing we can do about the 7'6" basketball demigod who's out for revenge. A man hyper-fixated on specifically making sure you never one-up him again. His disdain for Chet at this point, no longer subtle or cordial. Fans and the media taking notice that this is not your average friendly back and forth. Wemby is a man possessed, and Chet Holmgren wants nothing to do with it. But while the Spurs were still trying to iron out some wrinkles and adjust to an evolving roster, the OKC Thunder were scorching the entire league. 10-1, 15-1, 20-1, entering conversations of OKC having a good chance of breaking the all-time record for wins in a season, and Chet Holmgren, the right-hand man to the league MVP, with much larger sights than a beef with Wemby.
We've already sort of gone down the road. He says that he and Wemby have never really spoken. That rivalry is happening. I don't care what anybody says. Is there a possibility that Wemby's a little in his head at the moment?
I think this thing is man-made.
Yeah,
it's
man-made.
They're both 7-footers, and they came out back-to-back years or whatever, and Chet was hurt. Other than that, that's where it ends for me. Like the real rivalry, it's levels to this conversation. The real rivalry to me is going to be SGA and Wemby. Those are the MVP candidates. Why would an MVP candidate have?
Guys, what do you think? Thing is, with SGA and Wemby, I get what this guy's saying. Obviously, they're both up there, but there's nothing personal between them. It's just you play for a team, I play for a team. We're both trying to win.
Yeah.
But them two, Chet and Wemby, is personal.
Because it goes back deep.
Yeah. So I get what this guy's saying,
Yeah.
but I also feel like within SGA and Wemby, it's not a personal thing. It's not personal business.
Yeah.
You know? It's different.
A rivalry with a guy that's not in that conversation. I think there's a lot of levels and a lot of layers to these conversations, and I think
he is
Wemby
right
has
to an extent as well
from that conversation of a rivalry with Chet.
It looked like there was nothing that could slow down OKC, and for some, this rivalry was a thing of the past. When it came time for these two to face off again, at least on paper, the Thunder were a better team in the midst of what could have been the greatest season the league had ever seen. But after 14 long months since the last time Victor saw Chet on the court, and 4 years after Chet stole his tournament MVP, on December 13th, the day had come, where he could finally get back to fixing that hole.
Missed the last 12, and he's getting ready to head onto the floor for his first action since November 14th. Harper pull up, Jay, no. Tipped up and in, instant impact
good
for
tip.
Wemby. No good. Another offensive board for Wembanyama.
It's a different game now.
Harper is lonely.
Early in this game.
Wembanyama goes down, gives it up.
Wemby's hungry.
3-ball, corner pocket. Teardrop, no, blocked out of there by Wembanyama.
San Antonio is quite a bit better with Victor Wembanyama. That's why you have to go get a guy with my experience.
Wemby, bottom.
Good shot.
Stan Dwayne, Wemby's a plus 20.
Not a post up for a big like Wemby is at the high elbow.
Here's this matchup, Wembanyama with the rejection.
He made sure
Wembanyama
he is not letting that shot off.
Defensive end of the floor. Everything.
It's over to Wembanyama. Made the catch. Fading away. Wemby. Wembanyama got it back. Fires. And it drops.
I'm just bigger than you. That's all this boils down to. I'm big.
You snapped their 16-game winning streak, just their second loss of
That
the
is
season. We saw your
16
emotions
streak.
throughout this
Oh my
one,
days.
as everyone's saying that the Thunder is a team that is almost unbeatable. What does this win say about where this group is right now?
It says a lot, and it says a lot about where it's going to be in the future. I mean, that's only their second loss of this season. It means something.
Whew. Goodness.
For
the Spurs.
Round 2.
Same starting 5 we have seen. Slips, Wemby steps right through. Oh my goodness! Run over Chet Holmgren. Harper throw it up. Wembanyama dumps it. Back out. Wembanyama shot clock at 6. Stepping back for 3. First double-digit lead for the Spurs. Up 12. It's going crazy. What a Christmas gift.
Oh, Spurs smoked them. 20 points. That's mad.
Now, I would like with my teammates to introduce a little new tradition.
Yo, how did he fit? Why did Jimmy fit that in there? He was mocking it. Jimmy Howell was mocking it. I can't even lie. Like Chet, like I feel sorry for the guy because obviously all he's doing is playing basketball.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
even
just playing.
Their first thing, he didn't like do anything to Wemby. They won, innit? Like, that's what it is. He's not got nothing personal. Wemby, like, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit wild. It's a bit wild. I'll be real.
The San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder, a burgeoning Western Conference rivalry. Wembanyama continues to have a profound impact for the Spurs positively, both the offensive end of the floor and the defensive end of the floor. On cue, Wemby with the buy one, get one free right now. Sure feels like one.
Wemby is
with an
on it.
exclamation point just to let you know. Be out by the three-point circle. One dribble pull-up and a propitious roll and a shooting touch to his teammate Wiggins and got him packed on the glass.
What a block.
As Wemby pulls one at the other end for 3. Got it back and lays it home. We got a whistle. First of all, a spectacular pass by Wembanyama. Off the wide action, Wemby pulls the 3. Got it. Come on.
Not only are they kicking their ass on the floor, but they're letting them hear about it. The passion, the noise talking. And not only have they beaten them 3 straight times, they punked them 3 straight times.
How much fun.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. Like, that's quite a big lead. The last one was 20 points. What was the first game? I forgot what the lead was, but yeah, the last 2 were like, in basketball terms, that's quite a decent amount, isn't it?
Was it to be back in the mix again after having to wait the last few weeks to play?
Well, I mean, you can't imagine. Just get better, do some beautiful things. And I just wanted to be a part of it, you know? And I'm glad that we can still do it when I'm here. I have no doubt, of course, but I'm just glad to be a part of something that's growing to be so beautiful and so pure and ethical basketball, you know?
Conjuring up what could only be described as superhuman levels of pettiness, Victor Wembanyama unleashed 4 years of frustration upon Chet and the OKC Thunder, beating a team that only had 1 loss in nearly 2 months and was well on track to being the greatest regular season team of all time, not once, not twice, but 3 times in a 12-day span, purely out of spite. Now, of course, Wemby wanted to win these games, but the far more pressing matter was making sure Chet lost. At every conceivable opportunity, Victor made it abundantly clear that this was personal, morphing into Chet's very own boogeyman and playing each and every possession like his life depended on it. Flexing on him, throwing down windmills after the whistle, addressing the people, and creating an entirely new tradition from scratch. But not only did the Spurs beat the Thunder 3 times in a 2-week window, Victor Wembanyama and his insatiable thirst for vengeance single-handedly derailed what could have been the greatest regular season of all time. The Thunder's record leading up to that fateful December 13th night, 24-1, on pace to beating the all-time wins record. Their record since that first matchup against the Spurs, 6-6. The record now well out of reach. Now, to say the Thunder have completely unraveled simply because Victor is a resentful man who is hell-bent on not letting things go may sound like a bit of an overestimation of the damage Wemby inflicted onto this franchise. Then again, if you told someone the future face of the NBA is still mad over a meaningless MVP he lost 5 years ago in an international tournament that nobody remembers and is still seeking revenge on the poor guy who stole it from him to this day, that would probably sound like an overreaction too. For the Spurs, these wins were a step in the right direction, a sign that they could really compete and beat the best team in the league. But for Wemby, these wins were retribution. One step.
Watch Jimmy making Wemby like some monster. Like he's just angry from when he was 19 years old.
Some angry alien.
Yeah.
Closer to filling the void where that
That's
MVP
crazy
should be.
how he did that.
Intrinsic proof that there should have been no comparison, and that he is definitively better than Chet. A conclusion that all of us reached about 2 years ago.